morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good for everyone.
Hey, good morning, fabulous first grade. It's Thankful Thursday, and I am always thankful that you're here with me in our PBS classroom. I'm Mrs. Hammock, and I'm here to help you learn and practice all the skills that you need to be excellent readers and writers. Hey, I was reading a story, Monday was a holiday, right, for President's Day, and I was reading a story called The Boy Who Looked Like Lincoln. Can you imagine being 8 years old and looking like Abraham Lincoln? He might have some trouble, right? This story is by Mike Reese, and you might like looking at this story and finding out about the boy who looked like Lincoln. You can check for it at the County Public Library or on Sora. So let's take a look, speaking of Sora, at who is number 2 on our checkout. Are you ready? Okay, let's see. Number 2 this week is the Heaton Bulldogs. Great job, Heaton. Way to go. I hope you keep reading. I hope you're on our list next week. Boys and girls, I have some activity books that I would love to send you. If you don't have one yet, will you please send me a letter right here to the address on your screen? Or you can send me an email. I would love to hear from you. Tell me what your favorite color is. Tell me what you've been doing. I would love to know more about you. And I'll send this to you. Make sure your address is in the letter or in the email so that I know where to send the activity book. I can't wait to hear from you. Those letters always make my heart feel so happy. So I hope you'll take time to write to me. All right, my friends, it's time for us to wake up our brains and, you got it, train our ears for sound. All right, so in this game, I want you to listen for the sound that is the same in the 3 words that I tell you. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Night, cried, fly. What sound do you hear that's the same? Yes, that's our focus sound, right? It's the I sound. How about this one? Here's 3 more. Right, shy, ride. Did you hear the I sound again? Good listening. Great job. All right, how about this one? Made, save, pay. What sound did you hear? The A sound. Terrific. You're getting really good at using those good listening ears. You're like a listening detective. Terrific. All right, it's time for us to do our fluency. Remember, these are the sounds that we practice so that we can get them locked in tight. If you don't know some of them, please write them down and practice them all week so they get locked into your brain. Here we go. O-A says O. O-W says O. O-E says O. A-Y says A. A-I says A. E-A says E. And E-E says E. All right, let's take a look at our silent E spelling patterns. A consonant E says A. I consonant E says, that's right, I. How about this one? O consonant E says, yep, O, good job. U consonant E says, you. And E consonant E says, E. Great job. All right, this week we've been working on the long I sound and the spelling patterns that we are wanting to get really good at. So I, as in, I says I, as in final. Say them with me. Y says I. Good, like in my. IGH says I, like in the word night. I-E says I as in tie. Great job. All right, today we are going to use the IGH spelling pattern to say the long I. So anytime you see this group of letters, IGH, I want you to think I, like in 5. All right, it's that long I sound. So let's see if we can read this word together. Help me out. What's the first sound? Yes, N-I-T, night, night. Good job. What if I change the N to a L? Now what is my word? Light, light. Good, and if you know night and you know light, if you change the beginning sound to a it makes the word might, might. How about if I change it to a R sound? R-I-T, right. All right, I have one more for you that's kind of a tricky one. Are you ready? I'm going to use a consonant blend in the front. What does this sound? Br-I-T, bright. Great job. Look at all the words that you can read and spell when you know the IGH pattern. And there are many more too. Let's take a look at our reading chart. We're going to read this story. It says, be kind to bugs. And we're going to look for some of those long I spelling patterns. Let me get my little marker and let's read together. You ready? Here we go. The sight of bugs might give you a fright. If you were caught in a spot with bugs, you might yell. But be kind to bugs because they can help us. All right, how about you? Would you yell if you were caught in a spot with bugs? Ooh, I would, because I'm not crazy about them. All right, let's take a look. Here we have our long I spelled just with an I. Did you see it? Be kind to bugs. The sight, look at that, there's our IGH. The sight of bugs might. How about this one? It has an I with an E at the end. No, you're right, I didn't trick you. That's one of our sight words, give. Remember, we have to really know that one so we don't say something that doesn't make sense. How about this word? Fright. That means you're afraid. Sight, might, fright. If you were caught in a spot with bugs, you might yell. But be kind to bugs because they can help us. How'd you do? Did you find all of those IGH and I's all by themselves? You did a great job. We're going to keep working on that. Tomorrow I have a longer story that we'll read to find. All right, let's take a look at our high frequency words for today. We have 2 of them that we're going to concentrate on. I want you to read them with me and then spell them. And if it's a word you're struggling to remember, I want you to also write it down. Here we go. K-N-O-W, know. That's what you know in your mind, right? When you know something. And this word, listen. Listen, let's spell it. L-I-S-T-E-N, listen. Good job. All right, here are our sentences. Let's see what they say. We must in class. We must listen or we must know. Let's think about that. Let's read the second one, see if that helps us. Do you, where bees live? Oh, okay, that helped us, right? Because do you know where bees live? And we must listen in class. Is that what you were gonna say? Great job. All right, we've been working on the ES and the ED inflectional endings and how to read and how to spell when the word ends in a Y. So let's remind ourselves what we've been learning. when a word ends in Y, we have to change the Y to I before we add ES or ED. Now, we've been practicing that all week, and I'm going to add to that today because we're also going to talk about ING today, okay? Those are the inflectional endings we've been working on all year long. So here we go. We have sky, and we can change it to skies. The skies are blue. So if we change sky to skies, we're going to get rid of the Y. We're going to change the Y to an I and add ES. Change the Y to an I and add ES. Okay, I'm going to do it over here. That way we can still see sky. Sky, skies. All right, let's try this one. Dry. What do you think? Okay, we're going to change the Y to an I and add ES, and now it says dries, dries. What if I want to say it happened already? It dried, it already happened. I'm going to use the ED ending, but I'm going to change the Y to an I and add ED, dried. Okay, but what if it's happening right now? What if the sun is drying the towel? Drying. Well, when we have a word that ends with a Y and we want to add ING, we don't have to do anything special except add the ING. So it says drying. So the only time we're going to change the Y to an I is if we're doing the ES or the ED, but not the ING. Let's try fry. Are you ready? Fry. If we say fries, we're going to change the Y to an I and add ES. If it happened in the past, we fried the potato, then we're going to change the Y to an I and add ED. But if it's happening right now and we are frying something, we're going to just add ing to the end of the word fry, and it will say frying, frying. How'd you do? It's a little tricky, right? But you can do it. Just remember that ES and the ED is when we're going to change the Y to an I before we add that ending. But when we add ING to the word, we don't have to change anything. We're going to practice a little more tomorrow. How'd you do with that? I know you're doing great. I hope you'll keep practicing reading and practicing those sight words and the long I spelling patterns. Look for those in the things that you're reading in your books, and you are going to get excellent at it. Goodbye now, goodbye now. The clock says we're done. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.